yeah, when you strengthen that connection between your mind and your body, you can literally benefit all areas of your life, like reducing stress, reducing overload on your body, promoting better sleep, regulating your emotions as well. So yeah, there's a massive connection between mind and body, and hence.
Welcome back to the Holistic Hormones Podcast with me, Dr. Ami Patel, pharmacist and hormone consultant. I've transformed my pain, struggle, and journey with managing my PCOS into my passion to support women to gain freedom from their hormone imbalance symptoms. On this podcast, I share practical tips that have worked for me and my clients, as well as conversations from experts in their field. Today's episode is a guest episode, and today we have Urvashi with us, and I'm really excited about this conversation. So a little bit about Urvashi before we get into it. She is a renowned well-being, mindset, and purpose coach who specializes in empowering women to step into their power and their highest self, helping women raise their vibrations and become magnetic manifestors. Her holistic approach helps individuals find balance, alignment, and joy in their lives through tailored wellness strategies. Urvashi is also the host of the award-winning Brown Girl Rising podcast. Welcome, Urvashi.
Thank you for having me on your podcast. It feels so different to be on the other end. Normally it's me doing the intro. So yeah, fun.
Yes, fun. And I love your mission and vision, because definitely really aligned with mine in terms of empowering women and just helping them be their best selves. Yeah, I'm so glad that we connected and we're having this conversation.
Me too.
So tell me a little bit more about why you are a soul purpose coach and what motivated you to get into this space.
Sure. So I didn't start as a soul purpose coach. I think none of us start going, this is what I'm going to do with my life, right? I actually went to university and did marketing and sociology, and kind of wish that I'd done psychology now, because I'm so interested in the human brain. But
Yes.
it all kind of started when I went through, so I've been through traumatic experiences in my life. I've had issues with my own health as well, a couple of times. So I was sexually assaulted at university. I then ended up controlling my body through food consumption. So first of all, it was emotional eating, and then I ended up literally having bulimia. So I would binge and I would purge, and I went from being an average girl, size-wise, health-wise, everything, to being this obese 108 kilos. I don't know if you guys work in kilos, so that's probably 225 whatever pounds. And then when I got ill with bulimia, I ended up at 55 kilos, so 110 pounds. So it was a real drastic, and that happened over a course of 10 months. And after the assault at university, it felt like it was the only way I could control what was going on in my life. I couldn't control how my brain felt. I couldn't control how this anxiety, depression inside me. And it took me about 9 years after that incident and after the bulimia to really get control of me. And it was a decision that I made consciously. I was like, there's something inside me that I want to help people. I've been through so much, but I need to help myself first. And really, I started my whole career with movement. So for me, movement is really important. And movement, and it's funny that we're recording this today, because today is Mental Health Awareness Week. And the theme is actually movement for mental health, right? So this is a beautiful podcast to have today. But movement helped take me out of depression. And then I started boxing. So I used boxing as a way of getting rid of all the stored up 9 years of aggression that I had in me. And through there, I found a lifting coach. So I started lifting. And then I was just like, I feel different. My endorphins are, my energy is up here now. I feel more high vibrational. I feel happy, I had endorphins every time I trained. And so it didn't become quite an addiction, but it became something that I really love to do. And I was like, I want to coach people. If this is how good it makes me feel, imagine me helping others feel like this, right? And so I got qualified as a level 3 personal trainer, a boxercise instructor, along with other little fitness qualifications along the way. and started coaching people. And what I found, so I did face-to-face to start with in the gyms, out in parks and things like that. And what I found is that women were attracted to me. So women wanted to come to me to train with them. You've got to remember that, you know, I've been big, I've been small, I've been average, I've had this yo-yo diet. And most women, as we know, have gone through something like that, especially if they're your average women like I am, right? And they came to me not just for their physical health, but actually they came to me for their mental health. And I realized that I was holding space, I was holding sacred space for them to just talk, to just get off their chest what's going on in their lives, to just, you know, feel safe, feel held, and feel non-judged. And at that point, I was just like, I need to do more. I need to help women step into that next level of themselves, you know, their purpose, their higher self, a vision. And so that's when I went and got qualified as a Dharma and spiritual life coach. So Dharma means soul purpose, with the Higher Self Institute. And that is what motivates me. What motivates me is really seeing somebody go from feeling low vibrational and being in that state of potential depression and anxiety, or not really knowing who they are, or feeling a bit stuck in their lives, to really vibrating higher and able to see, you know, their life as an abundant life, or life from love. And seeing that change in someone, like I saw the change in myself, is what really drives me.
Wow, that is amazing. So much to say there. Well, first of all, thanks for being vulnerable and sharing about your trauma. And sorry that you had to experience that. And it seems like, but it's great to see that like you learned so much from it, and now you want to turn that pain into purpose and support other women to live their best life. And yeah, I totally agree. Like, I feel like a lot of times women specifically, we get stuck in like autopilot, like just going day by day. And then it's like, wait, what is like my purpose here? Like, what am I actually doing? Like, am I living my best life, or even like health wise, or like mentally, physically?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You touched a little bit on like movement for our health, but can you explain a little bit more about like how the mind and body are connected? And I like how you mentioned like psychology. I feel like we all should have like a really like advanced understanding of psychology, because it's literally how we interact with people every day, and our mind. But yeah, if you could just expand on that.
Yeah, so obviously the brain controls so many cognitive functions in our body. You know, it controls from us breathing without even realizing, to our heart beating, to us moving our fingers, and then us consciously doing other things as well. So our bodies are like miracle central. So we are literal universes, if you think about it that way, right? And the thing is, the brain controls cortisol, it controls oxytocin, it controls adrenaline, it controls how you're feeling. And we think that the brain controls the body, but actually the body also controls the brain. Now, the only way I can really put this into layman's terms is, have you ever felt constipated?
Yeah.
You didn't think this was going to go there, did you?
No, but okay.
Let's talk about
Yes.
poop. By the way, my name's Urvashi and I love talking about poop. So the thing is, when you feel constipated and you can't go to the bathroom, right? Your gut is controlling what's going on at that point. You think your mind is controlling, but it's not. Your gut, literally, if you're constipated, you can't think, you get brain fog, your body hurts, you know, all this kind of stuff is going on. So literally, the gut controls the brain and the body, and also the brain controls it, right? Now, to get rid of that constipation, we need to go through whether it's the movement or it's eating healthier or whatever it is. Now, as I said, it's not a one-way street. So the body can influence the mind, but the mind can influence the body. And so therapy, for example, uses your mind to try and control the body. Whereas the work I do is working on the body first to really change the chemical makeup of your brain. So like I said, you know, when I went through depression, I used movement. And that movement is me shifting energies. So spiritually, we look at like the shift of energies in our body, like where is it stuck and how can we release that, right? And so for me, it was all stuck in my heart and it was all stuck in my stomach. And I had to release that through certain movement practices, like lifting, like boxing, like just like doing circles of eights and figures of eights and yoga and breath and grounding. So we can literally change how we feel by changing kind of by working on our bodies first. So a lot of people think that they have to go to a therapist and just talk it out, but that won't fix the problem. I don't think anyway. Even though the brain is so powerful, I don't think you can fix the problem, because every experience that we've had in this life gets stored in our bodies, in our cells, essentially. So yeah, when you strengthen that connection between your mind and your body, you can literally benefit all areas of your life, like reducing stress, reducing overload on your body, promoting better sleep, regulating your emotions as well. So yeah, there's a massive connection between mind and body, and hence I want to look deeper into psychology, because I think, the vagus nerve, I don't know if you know much about the vagus nerve, but it controls so much of your like parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system, right? We can control how we feel in any moment if we take a step back and work on our bodies first.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I like how you explained it, that so much is also connected with your body that can impact your mind. And I think that, what was I gonna say? I like how you explain that, and it's like, oh, the trauma
But with the
and the emotion.
constipation.
No, I did get distracted by that. It's like, I think it's interesting that you mentioned like the emotions and trauma we feel, if we don't ever deal with it, it does get stored in like, different parts of our body. And like growing up, especially, like a lot of my viewers and listeners are South Asian, and women. And so with that, there's always that like, oh, don't be like an inconvenience, or, just go with the flow. And it's like, and don't like speak up and all this stuff. And I feel like years and years of that is just like, okay, you just like hold it in.
They're micro traumas, right? That you've had over the course of your life. Like one of the things that I used to get was, don't laugh too much. People think we're easy, or I was a bit of a chunky girl when I was, a kid when I was younger. So I used to get made to run around the garden before I was fed. Now that sounds like a joke to a lot of people, but 2 years ago, that came up as a traumatic experience for me. And I had to learn to let that go. And it was stuck in my throat. I couldn't speak. And I had to let that go through, singing, humming, all those kinds of practices that I used to kind of release that throat chakra. So yeah, all these micro traumas that people, even limiting beliefs, right? They're not ours. We weren't born with a belief system. We learned that belief system.
Yes. Like, I have a couple of nieces and they're like 2 years old, and you can just see how like invincible they are, how much they like believe in themselves, how happy they are. And then it just makes me think like, we all used to be like that, but then like you said, we get told like silly things like, oh, don't eat too much, or don't disrespect anyone, or don't speak up, or your opinion's not valued, things like that. And we hold it all in.
And when your nieces, nephews, or kids ask why, tell them. Like that, they are open brains. They are there to learn. Don't give them your belief, but tell them what is fact and let them make up their own mind about something.
Yeah, it takes a lot of awareness to like realize that for yourself, and then try to make sure you're not like traumatizing someone else or putting your beliefs onto someone else. Definitely.
100%.
So you talked about like vibrations and things like that. So how can we raise our vibration? And like you explained how energy is related to vibration, but I haven't covered that topic too deeply on my podcast YouTube channel. So if you could just tell a little bit about like how energy and vibration is connected, and how we can keep that vibration high.
So everything in this world is energy, and everything from this bottle that I'm drinking water from, from the vibrations coming out of my voice, everything is energy. And everything that is energetic has a frequency. Now, there is a scale called the scale of consciousness. And when we're talking about our energy, it's all about our conscious and unconscious energies, right? And it's the Hawkins-Hertz scale of energy. I'm sure you've probably come across it at some point. Now, Emotions such as anger, apathy, shame, guilt, they vibrate really low at a frequency of around 20 to 100, 150 hertz, right? Now, when you're feeling depressed or you're anxious or you're low vibrational, that's where you're going to be, right? There's going to be like fear, shame, guilt, anger, those kinds. So if you're angry about something someone said, it doesn't impact that other person, but it impacts your energy field and your frequency, right? Now, then you have neutral and courage, which is these energies are higher vibrational, but they're not quite high vibe. And these energies are where you start going, okay, so I can change my life. And that's around that kind of 200 to 300 hertz frequency on that scale. And then energies such as emotions such as love, peace, joy vibrate really high from like 350 to 700 hertz, right? And so what we want to try and do is, sorry?
Oh, I was just saying it to myself, like love,
All right,
peace,
yeah.
joy.
So they vibrate a lot higher. So what we want to do as human beings is try and vibrate at that level. So when we start vibrating from love, and how you do that is, say someone says something to you, instead of getting angry about what they're saying, just say, I see you, I hear you, and I'm going to send love your way. I'm not going to take that on as my limiting belief or my story. That's your story. That's how you see the world, not me. Okay. And that's how we start vibrating at this higher level, no matter the circumstances that we're in, no matter what's going on, whether you're financially in debt or whether you're, not in a perfect relationship or whether your health isn't great. We can start looking at it from love. Like, what is this teaching me? Like, how can I love my body better? Right. And when we start vibrating at that frequency, we become like magnetic manifestors. So everything that we can be grateful for, show love to, and feel is abundant in our life, more of that is going to come into our life. So that's where the vibrational scale is just incredible. Like, you really can change your vibrations. Now, you asked, how do you do that? It's all about going back into joy. It's all about going back into that childlike joy. Like, what did you love doing as a kid? Right? Was it painting? Was it running? Was it, I don't know, running around, having fun, whatever it was, right? Was it doing ballet or playing with friends? Like, what was it that really raised your singing, dressing up your doll? What was it? Think about how then you can use that as your inner child joyness in your adult life. Like, maybe if you loved painting as a child, maybe go to a sip and paint night, right? Bring that joy back in. If you loved running around as a child, maybe you actually could be a long distance runner and get joy from that. I would not get joy from that. No way. Maybe you love putting makeup on your doll. Maybe actually you should start looking at investing in makeup and really showing up for yourself by doing your skincare routine and your makeup routine. What brings you joy? And when you step into joy practices, and it could be as simple as calling your best friend up or calling your nephew up and saying, hey, how are you doing today? Let's chat. That could be a joy practice for you. And what you're doing there is you're bridging the gap from those lower vibrational states to those higher vibrational states. What that isn't going to do is change the situation you feel low vibrational about, but it will change your internal makeup so you see that situation differently.
Are you enjoying this conversation and topic? Would you love to dive deeper into other health topics with like-minded individuals who have similar health goals as you? If you said yes, then join my free Holistic Hormone Healing Support Facebook community, where we have monthly discussions, weekly check-ins, and more. Check the link in the description for more information and to join.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So other things that are really important is to create space. So whenever I work with a client, one of the first things I get them to do is to declutter. So, as Asians, we're hoarders anyway. and then, we hoard clothing that we think we're going to fit into again. We hoard books that maybe we don't want to read. I had books on my shelf, like Think Like a Monk and stuff like that, before I found my partner. And I was like, if I'm thinking like a monk, how am I going to attract my partner? Because a monk doesn't have a partner. Come on. Right? So I had to get rid of these books because they're not calling in. So anything that you don't want in your life anymore or don't need, send it love. Remember, high vibrational state, and then declutter it from your life. And so that creates space for something new to come in, for that high vibrational, whatever it is you want to magnetize and attract to come in.
Okay, makes sense. And I feel like good vibes or high vibe is like such a buzzword, but I like how you explained it in a way that's understandable and has like tangible action items in terms of like decluttering and bringing joy back in the day to day. Yeah, I'm just like processing it all. Okay, that makes sense. And it's like I feel like the declutter makes sense because it's like we have limited amount of like energy, like you said, space, right, that we can hold. And so everything is energy, so it takes up space. So you do need to get rid of it so that you could bring in those things.
I mean, imagine a cup, right? If you're filling a cup with water, eventually it's just going to overflow, right? But so you're trying to put the good stuff in, you're trying to be like, okay, I'm going to be healthier now. I'm going to get some new clothes, but that cup's going to get overflowed. If you look at it with clothes, if you've got a wardrobe, you've only got a limited amount of space. You can't keep buying stuff and shoving it in. You're never going to find what you want, right? Get rid of some stuff and then let the new stuff come in. I think about it this way. So I was with my old partner who we'd broken up, but I was still energetically attached to him. And so I kept hold of photos, messages, gifts, all of that kind of stuff. And there I was trying to invite a new love in, yet I was still holding on to an old love, right? And it wasn't until I decluttered him from my life, like down to the trainers that he bought me, down to like the jewelry, the photos, the cards that he'd written me. And yeah, it's sad to get rid of all of that, but do I need that going forward? Do I need that energy holding me back? Because old energy like that is stagnant and it will hold you back. I then decluttered that from my life down to photos on my Google Drive that had been uploaded and saved from my phone, right? All of it went. And then I wrote a list of how I wanted my new partner to make me feel, not what his attributes were, not how tall he was, not how much money he was making, but energetically, how do I want to feel? I wanted to feel like loved, held, safe, right? The only person, right, for him. 10 months later, literally this guy walks in. But I had to do all of that work first. The decluttering, the knowing that I was worth it, the writing a letter to the universe.
Yeah, I feel like this was like we're meant to have this conversation because I definitely needed to hear everything you just said. So
are you looking to call in love?
That, and I do need to declutter, so both. Yes.
Yeah. And a good place to start, like, when people think about, oh, how am I going to raise my vibrations? Well, how do you know what vibrations need to be raised if you don't know where you are? So I like to do a bit of a life audit. So you can do things like the wellness wheel or the circle of life, whatever people call it, that has different areas of your life, like your career, your business, your family, love, fitness, spirituality, and then just mark yourself as in, where are you right now? And then some people stop there. I like to go, well, why am I there? Like, what's going on in my life that makes me there, right? And then I like to ask myself, where do I want to get to? And I like to do the wellness wheel every 3 to 6 months. It's less now, but back then it was every 3 months, just to check in with myself. Like, is there any area of my life I need to work on? Right now I'm working on my finances, right? I worked on the love last year. This year's all about my finances and abundance. And so I'm working on that. And so that means I'm working on my business and my clients and my podcast and all that kind of stuff, right? Because all of that comes into finances. And then I go, well, what do I need to work on? And when you start looking at what you need to work on, you're basically creating a route map of how to raise your vibrations without really thinking about it.
Yeah, and it's like breaking that cycle of autopilot. Like, it's like we're recording this and it's like middle of May, and I'm like, how are we like 5 months into the year already? It's like if you just keep going, you don't take that moment to stop and reflect, like, is this where I want to be going? Am I living my purpose? Am I happy? Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, really good stuff. So how can we manifest easily? Well, I guess you did touch on this, but if there wasn't anything specific with that you haven't said already, was there anything else to add to that?
I think When it comes to manifesting easily, we obviously have to make space for it, but then we have to visualize what we want, right? When we start visualizing what we want, we can then start being grateful for having that already. Now, one of the biggest things I get my clients to do is have an identity shift. Like, think about it this way. If you are overweight and you want to get fitter, right? How are you going to get fitter? Right? You've got to have that identity shift from a woman who maybe, doesn't exercise, doesn't meal plan, doesn't, look after what she's eating, to a woman who is going to the gym 3 to 4 times a week, is walking as much as she can, is meal prepping her meals, right? And is thinking about what she's eating. So to get from A to B, it's an identity shift. And the only way you get to have that identity shift is by consciously choosing to make that happen. So people say with manifestation and the law of attraction, it's ask, believe, receive, right? You've heard that, right? The law of attraction, the secret.
Yes.
It's actually ask, believe, take action, then receive. Because the taking the action is what's going to get you the manifestation. We can't just sit here and go, I want to win the lottery, right? Oh, I believe I'm going to win the lottery. I'm going to be a millionaire on Friday. Okay, but have you bought a lottery ticket? That's your action, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about taking action. Manifestation, it is magic, but you have to put that sprinkle onto that magic to make it happen. And a manifestation will not happen if you don't take action. Like when I didn't take action of getting rid of the ex and all his stuff, I wasn't calling in, I wasn't able to manifest, but once I did, I was able to manifest. Yeah. So the easiest way to manifest is to take action. Know what you want and then take action on it. So have that identity shift.
Take action towards the new identity that you want to manifest or become.
Exactly. Think about it. If you want to be a CEO of a company, you've got to start acting like a CEO of a company. If you want to be stepping on stage in, your bikini at a fitness show, well, how are you going to get there? You've got to start acting like that. And that person would eat a certain number of calories, or they would weight train 5 to 6 times a week, So take those inspired actions. Without inspired action, you will not manifest. Okay. And I know that makes it sound like, oh my God, I've got to do all this work myself. And the universe isn't going to provide, but the universe will, because what will happen is new opportunities will come your way, or new ideas will come to you, or your channel something like, actually the quickest way for me to become a millionaire is maybe to get more clients rather than buying a lottery ticket, right?
And that's more aligned with your purpose, right? It's like, so thinking about that and taking the actions towards that. So we talked about a lot of concepts, energy, vibrations, manifesting. What's like 1 or 2 small action steps that people can take away from this, or questions that they can ask themselves to get started?
I think the first thing is, why do I want this? There's got to be a bigger, why? Why do I want to be a millionaire? What is that going to do for me and for the world around me? I genuinely believe that we are put on this planet, we choose to be on this planet for 3 things, and that is to learn, to love, and to serve, right? So if I'm a millionaire, how am I going to serve other people? What is my big why? For me, my big why is to help women thrive. But my bigger why is that I want to help people with period poverty. I want to set up a charity making, sanitary products for women across Southeast Asian continents, India, Pakistan, Thailand, wherever, and help little girls and women who are struggling with period poverty. That is my big why, right? I'm not there yet, right? But that is I see myself in 10 years time going to these countries and financing factories that create underwear that women can wear, so they don't have to put mud in their pants to soak up blood, right? So that's my big why. But before that, my big why is to see the vibrations of the planet raise. And if I have a secure life myself, so I'm saying, if I am a millionaire and I have that secure life myself, I don't have to worry about myself. I can help other people. So figure out your why is the first thing. I would say. And the other thing is literally, as I said, I've said it a couple of times now, declutter. You can't manifest without decluttering. You can't, and I think that is one of the biggest steps you have to take. And it's not simple and it's not easy, and it might get emotional if there's a lot of stuff in your life. And that isn't just clothing. I'm talking digital decluttering. Like, how much paperwork do you have around your house that's just kind of sitting there? You've not unopened envelopes, that kind of stuff. Any jewelry that you're not wearing. I went through a process of, during COVID, I had so many products, like hair products, face products, makeup, body products, all the scrubs, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm not using any of this, and it's collecting dust. Somebody out there can use this. So I put everything that I wasn't using into 2 huge bags. I stuck it on Facebook and I said, look, I've got 2 bags of products if anyone wants them. Half of them aren't even opened. Some of it's LMS, Clarions, good stuff, right? Anyone want to collect it for free? Right? So I did a service and I felt good about it as well. And I decluttered things that maybe people don't really think about decluttering as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. And even like our laptops, phones, like you were saying, right? Like backed up onto Drive, like it's great, but then you got to go out and delete it when that person or thing is not relevant anymore.
Exactly, 100%. So I would say those would be my 2 tips. So ask why and then declutter. And when you ask why, don't just ask yourself why once. When you get an answer to that first why, ask yourself why again. Like, why was that my answer? Yeah. And then, there's a thing where you can do 5 levels of why till you get to the root cause. So ask yourself why 5 times to every answer.
This is so insightful. I'm gonna have to go back, re-listen to this whole thing, and then take notes for myself too. Thank you so much. This was so insightful for me, and I'm sure everyone that's gonna listen and watch is gonna love it too. And also the period thing, definitely hit me up, because I would definitely love to be part of that cause. As you know, with everything I do, with supporting women with regulating their cycles and just education around that, that definitely needs to be, the literacy around our own hormone health needs to come along with that too. So yes, future collaboration right there.
On that. We should start something. 100%.
Yes.
100%.
Yes, such a great conversation. What is the best way that viewers and listeners can connect with you? Anything that you have currently right now, if anybody feels like it resonates with them and they want to be part of it, any of your offers, if you could tell us a little bit about that.
So you can connect with me on Instagram. I have 2 profiles. I have my coaching profile, which is Unlimited with Urvashi. So that's Urvashi. And then I have the podcast as well, which is browngirl.rising. And if you're looking at an easy way to start really reclaiming your radiance, really raising your vibrations, I do have a 5-day self-paced program called Reclaim Your Radiance. And if any of your listeners or viewers want to access that, they can get 10% off by using the code vibrations10 on my website for that program. And that will obviously take 10% off the price as well of that program. It's a 5-day program with meditations, movement, so healing movements, and then lots of different things that you can do to really reclaim your radiance and step into that highest version of yourself.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'll include all that in the show notes. But thank you for such a great...
Well. So it's vibration 10, all caps, Vibrations with an S.
Vibrations 10. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Urvashi, for the conversation, the insight, your time, your expertise, your knowledge, for sharing your story with us, and everything you do for all of us women. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. And I'm looking forward to having you on my podcast very soon.
Yes, definitely. And to everyone, as always, be kind to yourself, be patient, and focus on progress, not perfection. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. If you enjoyed this episode or learned something new, please share it with someone who can also benefit from it. I'd love to connect with you. Send me a DM on Instagram at holistic.hormones.pharmacist.